Many companies would love to have that sort of growth trajectory over the course of a couple of years. We managed that over a period of 12 weeks.
If you ask me what the key to this market is, it's Zoom. This is not changing.
What are we known for? It just works. We went from 10 million daily participants in December to 300 daily participants in April.
How are you going to stay ahead of the game? And where's Zoom going to be in 5 years' time?
There are competitors. When they get where we are, we're just going to be even further ahead.
Harry, thanks so much for joining CIO of Zoom. Must be a very, very extreme time for you guys. How are you coping?
It's very humbling, Nico. Very humbling to be at Zoom right now, keeping kids being educated in 100,000 schools in 25 countries, keeping governments going like UK Parliament, and keeping sort of numerous companies around the world from maintaining operations as best they can, given the global health pandemic that we're all living through. So it's very humbling.
Unbelievable how impactful you as a company have been able to be in this time. That's certainly a really privileged situation as well to be in terms of Zoom, I suppose. And you went from 10 million daily users to 200 million daily users in the space of a couple of weeks. Can you take us through like the biggest challenge, one of the biggest challenges that arose as a result?
So we went from 10 million daily participants in December to 200 million daily participants in March, and then 300 daily participants in April. So, it's that was pretty staggering. Sort of many companies would love to have that sort of growth trajectory over the course of a couple of years, and we did. We managed that over a period of 12 weeks, which I think I think it's kind of like it clearly demonstrates the technology architecture, the robustness of the technology architecture at Zoom to scale as well as we did. So, and a lot of the backdrop to that was, as we all saw, sort of as the coronavirus hit different countries moving around the world. We lifted the minimum meeting time on Zoom, the 40-minute minimum. We gave away the software for free to schools. And we adjusted our focus to sort of like, how can we help you? And in many cases, many, sort of health organizations and many enterprise clients, they started using Zoom, and then we followed up afterwards with the contractual elements. Because the focus was, and it still is today, quite honestly, the focus, which is we wanted companies to be able to function. We wanted people to be able to function, because while all the sort of paperwork gets itself sorted out. And I think that was the right decision, and it's still the right decision. It's a very difficult time on a professional basis, and it's a very difficult time on a personal basis. You can't see your family, you can't see your friends. And so it's here we are.
Nice to see your purposeful approach that you've taken in this crisis. Can I just take a little step back again, and can you take us through one of the biggest challenges that you had to get through and how you overcame it now with suddenly 300 million daily users versus 10 million a couple of months ago?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges was the different constituents that started using the platform. I mean, so the Zoom was built primarily for the enterprise clients. But now you have a lot of different clients using the platform. People using it on a personal level for, hosting dinner parties, hosting weddings, hosting bar mitzvahs, hosting church services. And, a lot of help is needed because these are sort of elements which don't have the IT organization that an enterprise organization has. So they're reaching out for support. They're reaching out on chat. It's like, how do we do this? How do we do that? All the in-person events collapsed, and everybody wanted to host online events. So how do you host an online event? What's the best practice? Do you do a white glove service? We're literally doing hundreds, if not thousands, of events every day now. Webinar platform. That's pretty cool, and sort of hosting thousands of people. It's like there was one event that we did. I remember this back a God, early March, which was a 24-hour webinar, started in New Zealand, and so and as the day went around, it came around up over Europe, Asia, all of Asia, then into Europe, and then into the Americas, and back to New Zealand, where they were passing the baton for different panels, different discussions, different speakers. Super, super cool. This. I was talking to one of our clients yesterday who, hosted a global webinar for their employees with their CEO. 22 languages. 22 languages. They were leveraging our sort of simultaneous interpretation. They had 22 interpreters on the meeting, so that when people were joining, they were able to select their different languages. I mean,
wow.
That was exactly. I was like, wow, that was awesome.
And
Yeah.
is there maybe one use case which you also never foresaw, which was the most emotionally moving? Is there one example
I mean,
that you can think of?
Look at Oprah Winfrey, last Saturday, with Weight Watchers doing her wellness program with 50,000 participants around the world. Look at NFL draft. Look at Saturday Night Live. The Queen's birthday. I mean, sort of there's so many. Hamilton, have their plays on YouTube that they recorded on Zoom. There was an opera singer from Italy. And then then the CEO of one of our clients, his grandson is learning the drums over Zoom. I mean, it's just humbling, man. It's like there's so many amazing use cases, and it's sometimes very emotional, quite honestly, to see some of these things. It's like somebody participated in the birth of their grandson over Zoom. I mean, it's like those are magical moments, and they only come once. Those types of things. And then of course there's lots of other. There's so many different uses, and it's all sort of super humbling. Yeah.
We just had a use case as well in soccer, where Liverpool is doing is zooming to do yoga for the whole team, the Liverpool soccer team.
Yes, I think I saw. I think I saw that as well. It's like it's it's terrific.
Liverpool has the best German coach, or best coach in the world, being German, Jürgen Klopp. That's why I follow that.
Okay, very good.
Where do you see the home office going in the future on average? I mean, of course, now we're in an extreme situation, but what kind of average do you see as a future? Myself, I have we're a team of 18. We usually work in the office in Monaco, and now already we are going into a big process of allowing. I mean, at the moment we're spread out in all of Europe, and we're Zooming all the time. We're even doing pub quizzes on Zoom every Friday, which has been a blast, and it works really well. So we're going to go into a lot more home officing, and I want to ask you, where do you see the world in terms of average going?
Yeah. So where we are today is an extreme, absolute extreme. But what I've heard from the hundreds of conversations I've had now over the last 12 weeks is the following. You have to think, on the left hand, you've got employees, and on the right hand, you've got the employers. So from an employee perspective, hey, this is kind of cool. I like working from home. In many cases. In some cases, I don't like working from home because I don't have the setup. I like working from home because I don't have to commute. I like working from home. It'd be better if the kids were in school, because it's a little difficult to be educating my kids online and having to work at the same time. But it'd be great if the kids were going to school. I could see the kids off to school in the morning, and bingo, it's like I'm at work. I've heard from some people who are working from home, they miss the social environment of the workspace, where I'm walking down the corridor and I bump into Farshad and I can ask him a question. Oh, Farshad, I meant to ask you this. So they kind of miss that. But on the other hand, I was talking to one of our clients earlier this week, and they have always measured the productivity of their employees, 50,000 people, and 10% of their employees are operating at about 90% productivity to normal. The other 90% of their employees are operating at 40% more productivity.
Wow, that's huge.
It's huge.
Do
He
you know
said it's
why?
like
Do you know why I think that is? I've read a research in the U.S. as well, where it's a matter of remaining in the flow. And if you get interrupted whilst you're working or doing anything else, it takes you 2 to 3 hours to get in back into this high performance flow of being focused and working well. And I think
yeah.
that's one of the main benefits of
And
being disconnected and being at home.
and I said I asked the client, it's like, are they working longer hours? And he said, no, they're, well, maybe like half an hour, 45 minutes more, but not a lot longer, not like, 50% more hours. Um, so, and on top of that, when you have like big metropolitan cities like New York and Boston and Chicago, etc., people aren't going to be, very quick to sort of jump on the subway, jump on the train, jump on the bus with social distancing. And then if they do get to the city, how are they going to get up to their floor? I was talking to a client yesterday. They have a 50-story building. Their headquarters is in Manhattan. It's 50 floors. They have on average 100 people per floor. They got 5,000 people. They don't know how they're going to get the people to the floors because they're only going to allow 4 people in an elevator at a time. And then what are they going to do about the lines for the elevators in the lobby of the building? Are they only going to allow so many people into the building? And then you've got the fact that the, sort of many employers, many corporations, enterprises are going to be reducing the number of people on the floor by 2/3. So only 1/3 of the people will be populating the space. And we've gone, and as you know, we've gone through sort of over the last sort of, call it, sort of 5 to 10 years where we've created these collaborative work office environments with lots of open space, no, sort of low cubes, no offices, which has been, I loved it when I worked like that. But now it's like they're putting up, sort of plexiglass partitions to separate people. They're creating one-way corridors for people to walk. They're creating sort of one-way entrance into the bathroom, one-way entrance out. What are you going to do about the copy machine? What are you going to do about the canteen? What are you going to do about the coffee? What are you going to do about lunch? And so there's all of these logistical things that are going to hamper people working in the office. And the other element, of course, is that employers, many have always sort of had a strategy about sort of introducing a better work-life balance, which included working from home. And here we are. It's like for many organizations, it's working really well. So it's not broken. Why do I have to fix it? And another client, they had 2 buildings in New Jersey, and they've decided that they're not going to renew the lease for one of the buildings, and they're just going to consolidate down to one that everybody work from home. So I think we're going to see a lot more work from home. I think we're going to see a lot of innovation to facilitate people working from home, to create a more virtual office environment. Rather than I'm just sitting here alone working, I'd be able to see my colleagues permanently in a visual way and be able to connect with them without having to sort of call them, so to speak.
That's a perfect bridge to my next question to you. How is Zoom going to stay ahead of the game? I mean, at the moment, you have really great features, quality, you're number one, features, you're number one. We were doing a pub quiz recently where we were sharing the screen. I could see all of my colleagues at the same time. We could record the video, you're really doing well, but it's not too difficult, I think, for people to catch up in that sense. How are you going to stay ahead of the game? And where's Zoom going to be in 5 years' time?
Oh God, I wish I knew. It's like, if you asked me 2 years ago where we would have been sort of, 2 years from then, it's like I would have got that wrong as well. So hard to say where Zoom's going to be in 5 years. But look, Nico, it's like, so let's think about it. Zoom, what are we known for? It just works, right? That's number one, right? It works every time, high quality, innovative, speed, instantly instantly, you click on it, it works. Boom, we're known for that, right? Amazing reliability. Innovative features, sort of things like the simultaneous interpretation, the ability to record, the automated transcription, real-time transcription, closed caption for the hearing. It's the virtual backgrounds, now virtual videos for backgrounds. And, we've been continuously iterating on our platform and innovating at speed, as I say, at speed and scale. There are competitors, and what are they doing? They're racing to get where we are. And what they don't seem to realize is that when they get where we are, we're just going to be even further ahead. The other, sort of other two elements of the Zoom platform, it's a very cost-effective solution. It's from a pricing perspective, you get a lot of value for the money. It's, when if you think of it from a consumer perspective as an individual subscriber, for $15 a month, you get all of Zoom. What's that? That's like the price of 5 cups of coffee at a Starbucks. Not that expensive. So good value for money. And then, we've always been secure, we've always been safe, and we've always, treated the privacy of our subscribers as critical. And so we have, as you know, upped the ante from a security perspective, and we are going to be known as the most secure and private video communications platform ever, period. So, and we've stated that publicly. You saw the Keybase acquisition that we did, I think that was a week and a half ago, 10 days ago or so. And so, excited about our announcement coming up on Friday about our end-to-end encrypted service, which will be pretty cool. And so, as they say in life, watch this space. So we will continue to zoom forward.
Can you tell me, when am I going to be able to put on my virtual reality glasses with Zoom and I can see my hologram or virtual reality business partner in the meeting, even though he's in New York, and I'm speaking to him as if he's literally like right here in front of me? When's that going to happen?
Yeah. We have lots of things that we're working on from an innovation perspective. I'm not sure where that type of feature is on our roadmap. It's the abilities that we have today from a technical perspective are profound, but there are things that are I think maybe of a higher priority at this point in time, given that there's going to be a lot of work from home, given that meetings are still, there's millions of meetings done every day, and quite honestly, Nico, I think we'd all agree they're still very inefficient. So,
definitely.
One of the things we talked about at our user conference last October was the ability to be able to make meeting notes and follow-up notes within the meeting, so that after the meeting, we leave with the actions that we agreed on and how we arrived at them, and then being able to say, oh, well, Nico, that's what you agreed to. And it's like, no, I didn't. Well, let's go back to the replay, push the button. Oh, yeah, here was the dialogue. And here's where you said, okay, let's do that. And now it's, that type of thing.
And you want that to happen with artificial intelligence or manually?
Excuse me, you want to have...
is that going to happen with artificial intelligence, or is it going to be a manual process?
I think it'll be, there'll be a couple of different dimensions to that. I mean, okay. Artificial intelligence gets you so far, but then you really...
Yeah, you can touch it up a little bit. That sounds awesome. Looking forward to that as well. Okay, well, Harry, that's it from me. I thank you very much for your time. Keep improving people's lives around the world. 300 million of them at the moment. That sounds like a rather big number. So thanks a lot.
Thank you for your support, and thank you for the opportunity to chat with you today. And great to actually meet you. It's a real privilege.
That's a privilege for me too, and I'm sitting in my simulator here in my cellar, because since I've just received this 3 days ago, and my internet everywhere else in the house is non-existent anymore.
What are you sitting in?
in my virtual racing simulator because I did some racing online.
Wow, cool. That's fun. That's
So
fun.
this is the only place my internet works.
What's it like to drive a Formula One?
In real or in the virtual world?
Real.
Okay, real. The best experience that I can tell you about is I first drove an F1 car when I was 17 years old because I won it as a prize because I won the Formula 4 championship. And I got in and I went to the end of the pit lane and I put full throttle for the first time. And I went from 120 horsepower to 950 horsepower because this was 950. And the feeling is you will never ever experience something like that in your whole life in anywhere, in any point of the world, because it's the acceleration. It puts your internal organs, it pushes them out the back of your body. That's the feeling you get. I mean, it's just your eyes. You can feel your eyes in the eye sockets going backwards. It's just absolutely mad. And then the G-forces as well, particularly when you hit the brakes. You get 5.5 Gs when you hit the brakes. So when I was 17, after the first lap, it destroyed my neck muscles so much that when I was braking, my head would fall between my legs. And so I had to kind of guess and I had to pray, please stay more or less straight on the road until I managed to finally get my head back up so I can see where I'm going for the corner. That's how extreme the G-forces are. So it's an incredible machine. And I think the best maybe a little comparable is to fighter jets. Except that fighter jets have the G-forces vertically. We have them laterally, longitudinally, and they have them vertically. That's the best comparison.
So Nico, last year I drove my son back to college. So I drove him back to college. I live in New York. He goes to college in California. So I drove him back to college in my Model S. I have a P85D, and we on the way we went through Salt Lake City and hit the Salt Lake Flats. And I drove my Model S onto the Salt Lake Flats and put in the
performance mode.
No. There's the ludicrous mode.
Ludicrous mode, even better. Sorry, performance was understating it.
And I flipped the paddle down to the floor, 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds.
Awesome.
Oh, it was super scary, man.
Yeah.
I did it twice, and then it's like I had to get out. So, not quite the experience you had. I mean, what's a Formula One 0 to 60? It must be.
That's not the most spectacular about a Formula One car. It does 2.45, but the more spectacular is afterwards. Once the traction limited phase is over, the acceleration then. That's the most spectacular place, because Tesla with the Roadster that's coming out, it's going to do 1.9 seconds from 0 to 100, and that's thanks to e-mobility, because you got 4-wheel drive and perfect traction control systems.
Absolutely, no transmission,
instant delivery.
Yeah, no transmission. There's no gear changing. It's
exactly. Yeah, and the gear change as well. Huge. That's the benefits of e-mobility, and I'm a big e-mobility fan, so I'm looking forward to the rollout of that.
Have you tried the Formula E?
I have tried it. Yes. I mean, it's a lot slower than the Formula One car for now because of the energy density in the batteries. That means that they can't deploy as much performance yet in order to still be able to get to a decent distance. But that will come with time. It's all about the energy density and batteries, and we know that there's huge innovation happening there. So when the progress comes, they will exponentially improve.
Yeah, my Model S is coming up to 6 years old. It's my second Model S. I had the Gen 1 before that, and but Maserati are meant to be coming out with the Maserati Alfieri, which is a 4-wheel drive electric convertible.
Ah, awesome.
And I was looking forward to getting one this year, but I guess with everything going on in Italy, they're probably out for a year.
Yeah.
Good. Very nice meeting you again. Thank you for your time. Yeah, very good.
Thank you, Farshad, as well.